The Pete Carroll Show. The first word from the Seahawks head coach every Monday at 9:30 with Mike Salk. Brought to you by Pizza Hut on 710 ESPN Seattle.
All right, we are waiting on Coach Carroll. Should be with us any moment here. Mike Salk Show, 710 ESPN Seattle. 710sports.com. You can download, go subscribe to get each show on demand, delivered right to your phone. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, however the best way is for you to do that. It was a great win yesterday. Unfortunately, it caps off a season that does not end with a postseason berth for the Seahawks. We'll talk to Pete about why that is. Obviously, Russell Wilson's injury is a part of it, and I think that it's worth talking about. On the other hand, we also know that they played a lot of backup quarterbacks this year as well, and that's part of life in the NFL, so sort of on the no excuses part of it. So, that there's one way to look at that where you sort of think about accountability, and another where you try to figure out, all right, but what sort of changes need to be made because of it? And I think that's a reason why, I've been so much in support of Pete Carroll and the culture that he's built and the kind of excitement that you saw from the team yesterday and them bouncing off the walls after the game in the locker room. I think all those things are relevant. And I think that I do believe that culture will trump strategy for breakfast. I think that makes sense. And the culture in Seattle is as good as it's ever been, as good as anywhere else in the league. Just about there with Coach Carroll. We're just kind of working out the headset and getting them ready to go. Coach, do we have you there? Hello, Pete.
What's up?
Hey, good morning.
I put the headset on and I heard me talking. I don't know if they couldn't figure that out.
It's shocking. I know, the marvels of modern radio. How did yesterday feel?
Oh, we had a great time. We did exactly what we wanted to do, is go out and play like crazy and have fun playing the game and get a win and just enjoy the heck out of that, as we wrap this thing up.
Was that your most complete win of the year?
I don't know that. I don't know. What was it? I don't know. We've had a couple good games. Jacksonville's pretty good. We had some nice games. But that was a really good one. In the fact that special teams figured in on it too, that just kind of added all three elements. So it was a nice game.
You seemed awfully happy with your offensive line play and then the running game with Rashad Penny. It just seems like even on the touchdown around here, I'll get you your Rabes early today. Here's some Steve Rabel.
Russ takes the snap, hands to Penny. He gets a backside cut. He goes across midfield, down to the 40. He's going to outrun him. 30, 20, 15, 10, 5. He is in. Touchdown, Seahawks. Rashad Penny was going so fast, he was crossing yard lines that I didn't even see.
It seemed like the safety had a pretty good angle on him, and Rashad just went past him.
Yeah, he sure did. He ripped it. And that was, Buda Baker's a pretty big-time tackler in the secondary, and he left him. And so it was, that was such a great sequence of happenings, right in that portion of the game. It was an amazing set of things that occurred. But that run was just an explosive return to what we've been seeing, man. This guy's been on fire. And it was great to see Penny hit it again.
I saw you talking about, or heard you talking about explosive plays in the running game with Penny afterwards yesterday. What is the secret? What is the key to getting those explosive plays through running the ball, not just through throwing the ball?
It starts at the line of scrimmage, and then it goes all the way through to second level. The coordination of the guys making their their targets, and then it's the guys that finish the blocks downfield with the wide receivers and the tight ends. You saw, I think Colby was running around down there, but it's usually all elements that fit into it. It's hard as can be to make those kinds of plays. But you're just waiting for it when you're watching Rashad now. You're just waiting for it to happen, and, man, here he goes again.
Want to talk a lot about the season in general now that things have come to an end. What do you think you learned this year?
Well, I learned how to deal on the other end of it. I had to, lead the discussion and the conversation and the truth, from not being in the front of this thing, where you're winning, you're going playoffs and you're trying to win the division and all that stuff is what's at stake. It's a little bit of a different conversation, but yet with the same principles, and always focusing on what the very next thing is out in front of you and not dwelling on what just occurred. And it was a real discipline. So I just had to stay with it, stay strong, and just not back off. And we've even found some new ways to talk about how to finish the season, but like we did the last couple of weeks, and it helped us. We were tuned in, we were focused.
How close is your team, is your roster from being back, not just in the playoffs, but going to another Super Bowl and contending for a championship?
I think it's right there. I mean, I wouldn't want to play us right now. You know, if I was another team, I think we have the elements that make you really dangerous. That you can't pinpoint where you got to stop us. You know, and defense is playing well enough, and kicking game is good enough, and when you have that foundation of the run game, then it's a tough formula. It's always been. You know, we've been playing like that for years, and so, yeah, we have a ton of stuff to look forward to with this team and the players that are making up the nucleus of it, and I think it's really an exciting time for us. And I'm really pleased that we finished with a real clear illustration of who we are.
What took so long, essentially? I mean, you mentioned having to learn how to coach a little bit on the other side of it and hitting your stride now. Why do you think it took longer this year?
I think we weren't quite right, and as much as we wanted, you know, Russ to be at his very best, it was hard for him. As much as we wanted our running game to be at our very best, it was hard to get that done. You know, Chris went out early. We had a little spurt in there with Alex, and then it took getting back to Rashad to get it going. Defensively, we didn't start fast enough in this season again. That's 2 times in a row we didn't start fast enough, and we found ourselves and put up some good numbers that indicate how you're playing. Just all of that just didn't happen soon enough, and you know, Russ did a miraculous job of recovering. He never should have been able to do that. He did it. You know, he got back out in 4 weeks with broken bones and tendons and stuff like that, but it was a lot to ask of him, and he did everything he possibly could. I'm so proud of what he put forth in his attempt to make this thing happen. He came back to get us going on course again, and we did everything we could, but we couldn't build it up around him. You know, we needed every aspect of our football team to be functioning, and we weren't quite as good as we needed to be.
You mentioned especially the defense starting slowly again. You know, if you could handle something differently, is there a change you would make and go back and kind of do something differently with that defense early?
Well, we had to find our guys. You know, we had to find the cornerback position, and once DJ got back on the right side, and you saw Trey Brown jump in. Trey played really good football just immediately. He was out there playing good ball, and then Sidney took over, and Sidney did a really nice job. And once we got the cornerback position settled, I thought that things kind of started to groove a little bit, and we didn't get to the passer as much as we need to, and you could see the impact of it last night. You know what you can get out of it. We weren't as productive as we need to be. And once really, again, if you remember a year ago when Carlos got here and he started hammering at that edge that he breaks down, the rest of the pass rush picks up. Well, he got going again. And the second half, or really just the last 6-8 weeks or something, maybe it's the last 4 weeks when he really started hitting his numbers. We changed and everybody complimented, and it worked out better. So there's so many things at this time right now, Mike. You could ask me. I can go off in 10 different directions.
Well, you mentioned Dunlap. I mean, what was it there? I mean, early in the year, it didn't seem like he was as effective. He wasn't rushing the passer as often. I mean, what changed with him there?
Well, there was a time when we tried different combinations. You know, when we backed him out of there some because we just couldn't get it. We weren't finding the same kind of production that we had seen the year before, and he was trying. He was playing his tail off and all that, but it just wasn't happening. He seemed to really catch fire with his power rush, which is really his signal rush, and once that started taking off, then everything started to fit off it for him, and then other guys were able to take advantage of that too.
What kind of changes should we expect this offseason?
Man, give me a freaking day, dude.
No way. This is the last chance we get to talk to you for a while. We're hammering right at it.
Well, yeah, I know. I don't mind you asking. I don't have the answers for you right now. You know, we'll be. It's such a difficult time of the year. You know, for the clubs and to figure it out, what's coming up and what you got to do. We have so many decisions to make and so many things we have to handle. We love the guys that play in this locker room now. This is a bunch of guys that really, really care about playing this game, and that's a centerpiece for building a championship team. And so we have to see how we can keep it together and keep all the elements in functioning, and then enhance the process between this year and next year, because things change. Guys change. They don't come back the same all the time. Their life is shifting as we go, and we have to make those evaluations and help guys through those processes and build this thing up. But we have so many good aspects of our team that I'm excited about adding to it and building and all that, and also playing better. We can play better, and which we will. And we'll coach better too.
Do you anticipate changes to your coaching staff?
I don't anticipate anything right now. Right now I'm just trying to get my world settled, and we'll get after all the decisions and stuff when we get more time to look back and make the evaluations and all that.
You mentioned that you heard yourself talking when you first came on. I was playing some of your sound from yesterday, kind of going through what it means to win in this league. And you said you don't need to throw for 400 yards. You need to mix it up. You need to dominate the line of scrimmage. You got to have balance. You got to control the line of scrimmage. What that sort of fits with your philosophy of how to win football games. Will you redouble that and recommit to that this offseason?
Well, recommit. Yeah, I will always recommit. Yeah, I've got to recommit to the things we believe in. Yeah, that's part of what the offseason is about, to rediscover the work ethic and the focus and the philosophy and the approach and all of that, and build it around the players that you have. The point I'm trying to make, really, Mike, that we hear so much talk about the throwing game and this and that, and how, that it's football, and football, there's the factors that make this game happen in a successful fashion have never changed, and you have to control the football and not give it to your opponent. And we almost gave a game away yesterday, and that comes from all that it takes to get that done. And if you can throw it and not give it to them, great. If you can run it and not give it to them, great. But you have to own that frickin' ball. And so whatever it takes to do that with the players that you have is what's important. And over the course of time, in my world, and in my 20 years of being a head coach or whatever it is, I don't know how many years it is, I've found that if you create real true balance on your football team, and you can play in all aspects of your game, and you can run the football and throw the ball with a balanced sense about it, and not give it to the other team, you got a great chance of winning. And so that's all our fans want. That's all our players. That's all our coaches want. That's all I want. I want to win. And so we're going to try to figure that out. It happens to be when you can play really good at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football, that's where it starts. You snap the ball, and those guys knock heads. And from there, the rest of the play happens. And so you need to be really focused there and have great discipline and design and approach, so that can be the factor. You try to yoke it all over the field so that everybody can be fired up about how many yards you throw for. That ball's in the air, and a lot of guys get a chance at it, and then you get hammered when you get back there and you get sacked, mm-hmm. and the ball comes out. Look what happened last night. So this is, and it can be a beautiful game. It can be a beautiful game in style. Look at it. How do you like us? Do you like us now? I love the way we've been playing and finishing the season. And there's nothing but excitement and thrills and fun and explosions. We had 10 explosive plays again last night. That's huge. And they had 4, we had 10. Well, that's in the running game and the passing game. So anyway, I'm teaching. Mike, I'm teaching. I want you guys to understand how we do it, how we look at it, and I have all the confidence in the world that this is the right way to do it, because we've proven it. And so we just need to get back to it and make sure that it's consistent throughout the course of the season. We were up and down and not as sharp as we needed to be, and there were some elements to that we can fix, and we're going to do it.
Is your quarterback on board with that level of balance?
He had a blast last night. He loved that football game. He doesn't care what the numbers are. He really doesn't. He just wants to win. And look at him. That's who he is. He said that 1,000 times to me. He just wants to win, and so whatever we got to do to do it. And there's nothing. It's not like we're running the ball so that Russell doesn't get to throw. We're running the ball so he can kill him when he throws the football, and that's the point. And so he gets it.
With that said, then, is your expectation that Russell will be back next year?
Yeah, he's our quarterback. Of course, I do think that. Yeah, I do think that, and he's on our team.
You mentioned to me a couple of weeks ago that the team needed to retool, not rebuild. What does that mean, to retool?
Just keep competing. Just keep competing. Help our guys get better. find another guy like Darrell Taylor, who comes out of nowhere from the year before and is a huge factor in the football season. We don't know where that guy might be. I don't know who that might be. It could be a number of different guys. It might be Colby Parkinson, for instance. He looked pretty good at the end of the season here. He might be a star in the making. So I don't know. I don't know exactly where that is, except for we know where we're going to try, and that has draft implications. It has free agency implications. It is re-signing our guys so we can see them develop from one year to the next, and how much better they can pick out the right guys. Like Phil Haynes played great football for us last night. He played really good again, and so he's on the rise. So I don't know. That's how you retool. That's how you fix it. There's a number of ways to go about it, and we feel very confident that in ourselves that we can continue to do that.
One thing we know, you won't have a first-round pick this year. You do have what appears to be a tremendous amount of cap space. Does that change at all?
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about this cap space thing, okay? The reason you say that is because when you look at the numbers, you don't post all of the guys that are leaving, all of the guys that are out of their contract. Mm-hmm. We have to keep our guys. So that space that you're talking about, we got to keep these guys around. We got to get our guys to come back to us. We got a lot of players that are going to be free agents that need to be on this team next year, and so that money goes very quickly there. So this cap space, we can make all these moves and all that. Well, that's not necessarily how people should look at it. They should be clear that we've got some wonderful players on this team that need to come back, and so that money will go faster than you think, and it won't be quite as free as it looks like right now.
Well, and when I hear you say that, then it sort of backs up what you said to start this interview, which is that you believe your current roster is pretty darn close. So does that mean you won't be seeking, not that you won't be looking for, but that you wouldn't expect some sort of big name off-season addition?
Don't cancel us out on that.
Okay,
no.
Good.
There ain't nothing. No, we are wide open. You're either competing or you're not. Okay, that means that you're striving to figure it out, and so that means that whatever is, we've said constantly over the years, whatever opportunities is available, we're in it, and we're going to figure out whether it fits us or whether it doesn't. And I can't tell. I have no idea what I'm talking about. That's just count on us. We're going to be battling, and Johnny's going to be chasing whatever the opportunities are, and then we'll see if it fits and see how we could do it. And in that, let me go a step further. Yeah, we're listening to everything. You can't compete and only listen selectively. You're either in it or you're not. And so when there's opportunities, we're going to be after it. And that that's across the board. That's across the board. And I think I know what I'm saying when I'm saying that, Mike. Who knows what's going to happen?
Sure.
It could be any player on our club. People come after him. You got to see you got to listen to them. And we listen, because we compete, and everybody that follows us wants us to do that. And that's how we do it. We're going to try to see every option that's out there, and from our owner on down, she wants to know, what can we do to help this franchise? And that's what we're going to do. And we're going to figure out where that comes. And you don't know. We don't have a clue right now. So, but no, that's how we operate, and that's the only way we know how to, and we'll continue to be that way.
At the risk of going back to something that is almost a 12-year-old conversation, it's something that has kind of popped up again recently.
You saying I'm a 12-year-old? I'm acting like a 12-year-old?
Well, the most excited 12-year-old I know. Could you offer a little clarity on how some of the personnel decisions work with you and John, and is that sort of loose structure still functioning the same way, and is it still working?
There is no looseness to this. We're trying to figure it out, and we'd use every resource he has, every resource I have, every experience we've ever had, and we throw it out there on the table and try to figure things out. And why? Because we're competing to figure out what the best possible decision and conclusion to an opportunity that we can come to. So that means that we're using everything we got. And it's no different than how we play a game, where everybody's got to give everything they got every single time we go, every step you take. And that's how John and I do it. And so when it comes down to money decisions and things like that are going to, we have to figure out how it fits and all that, we go right through the order of all of our people that work with us. And sometimes it goes all the way to the owner, and we need advice. We need to keep her informed of what's happening. And so she can give us the guidelines that fit at the time. So there's the process is really just as wide open to the options as possible, and as creative as we can think, and as far as we got to go, as hard as we got to push. We ain't going to let anything get in the way. And then we'll give you the best shot we got. And that's what we've been doing for a long time. We're going to continue to do that.
You mentioned yesterday that Jody Allen would leave no stone unturned. Have you met with her? Do you expect to meet with her this week? I mean, what will those conversations look like?
Yeah, every year we get together after the season's over, and when we're at her beckoning call in that regard. For the next couple of days, we'll figure out whenever the time's free to do that. But we always do that. And we've always done that. And in any business, you got to go through an accounting of what just happened, and then set the course for what's coming up, and then you follow the options and see where it goes. I'm honestly, Mike, I am so excited to work with her because she's just on it. She's so tough about the process and doing things right, and tirelessly, just like I love to hear, about competing to figure out what the right choices are, what are the options, and use all of the research and all of the information that we can. I mean, we're all on the same page in that, and so you got some real competitors going at it, and it's only good stuff comes when you work like that.
I don't know how many Mondays you and I have spoken at the end of a season like this, and I always ask you about it, and I'll do it again today, but your thoughts on all of the coaches who were let go today and are out there looking for a new job, and their families and their assistant coaches and everything else that goes with it. I know today can be a challenge for you.
Yeah, this day sucks, and there's some surprises, and there's a lot of spots that just hopped, just this morning, and also last night or yesterday with Denver. Yeah, these are really challenging, difficult times for a lot of people. I mean, entire worlds shift here, and it's not like I always would like to remind the people who kind of get into this stuff that it's personal, and it's families, and it's kids, and it's moving, and it's all kinds of stuff that worlds are just shocked and turned upside down, and particularly when you get surprised by it. There's some surprises here already, and I don't know if we're done with it or not, but it's tough times.
You said yesterday that you're not going anywhere and that you're in great shape. Did you mean physically, or did you mean that you and Jody Allen have spoken and you're in great shape?
I'm just going to leave that phrase. Great. I'm in great shape out there.
Good.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
That's it. I'm 70 years old and I'm in great shape, and that's all I've got to say about that.
Yeah, really.
Coach, I appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun talking over the course of the year. I'm sorry that we didn't get to talk after more wins, but looking forward to an interesting offseason and to talking again next year.
There's going to be more wins. Mike, it's really been a pleasure. I really like working with you. Thank you so much.